A Manager Analysis for Organizational Behavior by Liam Fullerton, Stephen Broker, Cullen DeVoe, Miguel Hosking, Dana Whittle, Isabella Valentine, and Kevin Lederer.
Hello, my name is Liam Fullerton, and I am here with my virtual team members Stephen Brooker, Cullen DeVoe, Miguel Hosking, Isabel Valentine, Kevin Lederer, and Dana Whittle. In this presentation, we will discuss our findings upon analyzing 4 interview transcripts with managers across various fields and how they relate to organizational behavior. Specifically, we will be focusing on our management transition process across these fields. We will begin the presentation by giving an overview of our findings through the interviews and focus on the opportunities and challenges through management transition.
The managers of Farmers Insurance Group, Home Depot, and community Honda dealerships were older and more experienced. Because they were more experienced, they had more mature answers, and they were more focused on large-scale operations with their businesses rather than day-to-day tasks. Whereas the Sobeys manager was a little younger and talked more about the daily routine rather than the big picture of the company. The manager of Farmers and the manager of Sobeys were in charge of only 5 people each. Due to the small size, the employees had more autonomy, but the Farmers employees had more responsibilities than the employees at Sobeys.
The managers of the Home Depot and the Honda dealership were in charge of a larger number of employees, but the manager of the Home Depot dealt with more regional and corporate decisions, while the manager of the dealership was more involved in the daily operations. Since they worked with so many people, they had to delegate a portion of their daily tasks to the managers beneath them. Their emotional intelligence was more important because they dealt with a wider range of personalities and age groups as compared to the Sobeys managers. The managers of Farmers and Honda needed a more technical understanding of the industry. They also needed a lot of experience in their service and products before they could become a part of management. Background knowledge was only needed for Home Depot as far as the products and services they provided. The manager of Sobeys was more operational than the other managers. The managers of the Home Depot, the Honda dealership, and the Farmers Insurance Group were more service-oriented, while Sobeys was more goods and task-oriented. While there were elements of citizenship management in Farmers and Home Depot, the 4 managers seemed mostly concerned with managing task performance. None of the managers discussed counterproductive behaviors among their employees.
Farmers, Home Depot, and Honda dealership managers talked more about their relationships with their employees and how important it was to them to increase organizational commitment. Farmers gave their employees more autonomy and trust even though they had long-distance business relationships. Honda took special consideration towards employee unions, and Home Depot took special interest in the personal lives of their employees. Sobeys manager did not mention the well-being of their employees, so we are concluding that organizational commitment was not as important to them. Regarding opportunities in management transitions, Home Depot went from assistant manager to manager and got to learn the more regional side of the business. Honda went from parts manager to service director, so he was dealing with more customer satisfaction and therefore acquired another skill. Due to the transition in companies for the farmers manager, he learned how to better empower and support his employees and to allow them to be more autonomous. Sobeys manager transitioned from a regular employee to a manager and therefore had more opportunities to lead. All 4 interviewees faced challenges of some sort in their transition to management. The Home Depot manager faced challenges with meeting new employees and leaving his family for longer periods of time at his new store location. The Honda manager dealt with acquiring more responsibilities regarding safety, building maintenance, and customer concerns. The farmers manager had to learn how to work via phone and the web with the employees. Also, employee evaluations based on the behavior were a challenge. The Sobeys manager had to cope with losing business with the opening of a new Walmart.
First factor to success for successful management transitions we found was consistency. We broke this consistency down in terms of being promoted from within, having related tasks between the 2 positions, and having similar workloads. Another interesting point we noted was environmental consistency. We will now go into detail about these factors. One similarity between the managers we interviewed is that they were all promoted from within the organization. This led to higher levels of organizational commitment amongst employees, as they are more likely to see the potential for growth within the organization. By seeing the growth opportunities, employees will stay in an organization longer with the hopes of landing a promotion. The prospect of a promotion also leads to employees becoming more motivated, which has a strong positive effect on job performance. The managers also had higher levels of job performance because they had already built a relationship with either the organization or the employees, leading to higher levels of citizenship behavior.
When the managers were asked if they found the transition to be easy or difficult, the ones who had adopted similar duties to the previous position identified as having an easy transition. The manager who went from parts manager to service director had to deal with customers after the change of positions, but previously was not required to. Even though this manager had all the abilities required for the new position, the manager had not been able to develop the skills in dealing with customers required for a smooth transition from his or her previous job. This made the transition far more difficult. By being able to develop the skills required to perform at the next level, it is clear that related tasks are an important factor in management transition, as it helps to increase the task performance and therefore job performance of the manager.
The manager from Sobeys cited an easy transition, as he explained that in his previous position, he went above and beyond expected outcomes. This manager attributed citizenship behavior as a key factor in being ready for an increased workload. In contrast to this, one manager claimed a difficult transition, as he or she was not ready for the increased workload. From this, we extrapolated that similar workloads make it easy for transitions to be successful, and thus increase job performance amongst managers.
A final noteworthy point is that the manager from Home Depot mentioned that work-wise the transition was easy, but found it difficult in his personal life when he had to change locations. This struggle of moving locations can also be mirrored, as a new manager may not have the trust of his or her new employees. For example, when the Home Depot manager struggled to get coworkers to call him Mike rather than Sir. Conversely, a change in scenery may be beneficial to a potential manager who is stuck in a rut and needs change in his or her life.
We also found through the interview transcripts that measurability was a key factor in the success in the management transition process. This measurability comes in the form of self-evaluations, managers evaluating employees, and quantitative analysis to make up for a lack of experience. Self-evaluation and goal setting are also keys to success in the management transition process. Managers that are able to properly evaluate their performance are more self-aware. This self-awareness leads to higher emotional ability, leading to a more effective manager.
Evaluating employees is also an important factor as part of measurability. The manager from Farmers Insurance expressed frustrations with trying to evaluate employees as a new manager because management was required to evaluate employees based on behavior. He found it difficult to evaluate effectively because he did not know the employees well enough to base an evaluation on their behavior alone. The manager from Farmers Insurance felt it would be more effective to use a quantitative analysis to make up for the lack of experience instead of a behavioral analysis. The manager felt this would lead to a more successful analysis of employees. However, this quantitative analysis does not necessarily account for the citizenship behavior, which is one of the three determinants in job performance.
From the 4 interviews, it is clear that variables like experience, industry, environment, and department size had varying levels of influence on all of the managers and their roles in their organizations. While the many responses makes finding a one-size-fits-all solution impossible, a common thread among these managers exists. All 4 mentioned self-evaluation and the evaluation of their employees. Although elements of management and production may be difficult or even impossible to isolate and measure, the managers' drive to constantly improve themselves and those around them is a necessary quality that spurs the success of any organization.